What's up, everyone? So, what do you do when you become a manager and now you're supervising former friends and colleagues that you've worked with for years? What happens when they don't like your approach or they think maybe you're just not even doing a good job? So, this is a common situation that a lot of new managers find themselves in. And fortunately, there's a way you can overcome these challenges and all the other things that come with being a new manager. Personally, from my own experience, I've had more failures and made more mistakes than I can count on from being, a new manager or a manager that's taking over a staff that has a lot of employees that had been there with previous management. So, in this instance, we're going to be talking about a new manager that was just put into a management role since the company's top manager is going to be retiring, but now he's doubting his abilities. So let's just go ahead, hear what he has to say, and then let's talk about how he can mitigate this situation. So he starts, I've been put into a management position. My company's longtime top manager has secretly announced his retirement to the owner and myself. He has been letting me shadow and guiding me through the transition to take over his position. He's been there 38 years. He knows everything inside and out. There was some pushback from some fellow employees. They had a sit-down meeting with me, and I was told I micromanage / can come off harsh. We talked back and forth, and the conversation ended good. I understand why they were upset, and I believe they see where I am coming from. The thing is, when I question them on stuff, it's because my boss, the one I'm replacing, has me question. I asked my boss about it, and they believe I'm doing everything right, and it's good my coworkers feel comfortable enough to talk to me. I asked if I should change my approach or step back. He told me that I am way more kind than they were when he first started off. He said it will be an odd transition and I should stick to what I'm doing because someone has to come in and get people back on track. I understand, but these are people I was coworker friends with. I don't feel I come off harsh, but it's just weird now that I'm their boss. My spouse said, unfortunately, not everyone loves their managers and it's going to be a weird transition. No one else knows that the current boss plans to retire and will teach me for the next couple of years. I'm now doubting everything I do and if I'll be a good manager. So again, this is an issue that all new managers are going to go through, especially ones that are moving up internally where the people that they used to be colleagues with are now their subordinates. So this can be awkward because for everyone involved, because in some respects, there are going to be some coworkers that feel you don't deserve the job. And maybe they think that they deserve it. Other people might think, oh, well, now that they're a manager, they're going to be too good for us. And then there's going to be the people that just aren't going to be happy because they just don't like change. So you kind of mentioned this before, but it is a good thing that they sat down with you and gave you feedback. But it's also really big kudos to you for for being open to that kind of feedback. That's a really good way to build trust. In a past video, I talked about building up your trust bank. And when you start up as a new manager, you're going to have to sort of restart with the whole building up trust again because it's a new role. And it's you're in a situation now where there's an authority, it's a dominant, it's a power relationship basically now versus where before it was more of like you were on the same level. So I also like how you mentioned that you could consider their points of view and you acknowledge that, hey, maybe they had made some good points. So that's, again, really good for you. So here's the thing. When you start off as a new manager, you have a few options. The first is you come off harsh or strict because you need to set boundaries. But what happens is sometimes people just come in guns a-blazing. Like all of a sudden, people that were used to doing work a certain way for a long period of time, now someone comes in and says, okay, no, I want it this way. It has to be done this way. And this is a process I want. And people are just like, what is with this guy? Like, why is he being such a jerk? What's his problem? Because they aren't seeing that you have to be consistent. You have to set the tone as a new manager. They're just looking at it from this person just is trying to kind of overcompensate. So you're having to be you're being harsh on purpose to kind of put your foot down. The other thing that happens, which is worse, and it sounds like you haven't done this, and it's a good thing, is you haven't tried to be the cool boss and try to show everyone that even though now you're the boss, that you're still the same person that you were before. That's just career suicide, and it never ends well. When you go down that road, you lose respect from everyone very quickly. Your boss won't be happy. Your subordinates won't think you know what you're talking about, and they're going to walk all over you, and they're going to lose respect for you, and eventually nothing is going to get done. So I'm happy to hear that I don't think that's the route you're going down. The best thing that you can do as a new manager, overseeing former peers, is to be as transparent as possible. Saying things like, hey guys, I like to do it this way because I'm trying to figure out what process works best, but definitely let me know if you have any feedback. Or something like, hey guys, I may seem like I'm micromanaging a little bit, but just know that's not my intent. I'm trying to get a bit better understanding of what everyone is doing so I can be a better support for you in the future. So, if you could just please bear with me as I'm just going to try to learn as much as I can. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions, and I'm just, again, it's not to like impede or, micromanage. It's just to help me learn. Also, if you have a small enough team, you can try to meet with everyone one-on-one and just ask them questions. Ask things like, how do you like to receive feedback? How do you like to be managed? How do you like to be recognized? The big thing is to let them know that you're there to support them. Bounce ideas off of them and keep them in the loop as much as possible when you can. It doesn't have to be a formal meeting either when you bounce ideas off. Say, hey, Steve, I was thinking about doing something like this. What are your thoughts? Do you see that working or not? And, that's kind of just a good way to kind of build that trust and, again, build that rapport of now you're having conversations not as a peer to a peer, but you're having a conversation as an authority figure to a subordinate. I hired a really good friend of mine for a job once, and actually, I had a lot of these same concerns, but it ended up being a really awesome thing for me, and it was like amazing because I always asked him for feedback. And, after meetings, I'd say, dude, like, how did I do? Do you think I hit all the points that I needed to? Was it interesting or boring? Was I too harsh, or do you think that I said it in a way that it needed to be said? And he'd be like, no, dude, that was good. Like, I liked how you did this, but dude, you needed to be a little bit more strict, because what you're going to find is when you include people in feedback, they're not only going to respect you more, but they're going to give you feedback. And people are willing to go to bat for you and work hard for you when they feel empowered to be included in the process. So, here's the thing, though. I cannot stress the importance, though, I can't stress the importance enough of being consistent early on, and you have to be firm. It's much easier to start off firm and become more relaxed later on than starting off soft and then having to tighten things up later on when things go wrong. Because eventually, if you start off soft, they will go wrong. And understand, too, that some people just don't want change. They like the way things were, even if and they know that things have a potential to be better. People become very attached to the status quo, and any threat to that, sometimes they see as a personal attack on them because it's requiring them to do some reflection, and maybe it's causing them to think, well, maybe like I wasn't doing as good of a job as I could be doing. There's a book called Leadership on the Line. It's by Ronald Heifetz and Marty Linsky, and it states, and I quote, "Frequently, people who seek to exercise leadership are amazed their organizations and communities resist. To persuade people to give up the love they know for a love they've never experienced means convincing them to take a potential leap of faith in themselves and life. Even if it is not a life or death change, the mere thought of things potentially being uncomfortable breeds resistance." So again, you're asking people to step outside their comfort zone, which is something people don't like to do. In situations like this, it's important to make sure that you're letting them know you're working towards a common goal. When I took over departments that were struggling, I'd always ask the people there, what did you like? What was working really, really well for you guys? And then I'd ask, like, what didn't you like? How would you fix things? If you were in charge and you had my job, how would you fix things? What do you think are things that you would like to see me do that can make things better? And then we could work together to bridge those gaps. Always make decisions based on facts and share those facts openly so people understand that that way people understand that your decisions aren't going to be like just based on a whim or some emotion that you have. In my experience, when employees come off and say you're being too harsh, others may say it's exactly what is needed. So what you have here is you don't have a disagreement with the content of the message. You have a disagreement with the style of the message. So you have to keep that in mind. So as a leader, you're not going for love. You're going for respect. As a leader, you don't need love. It's nice if people love you, but they have to respect you. And you gain respect by sticking to your guns when it's tough to, but also admitting when you were wrong, and then always taking the time to reflect. I highly suggest keeping a journal and writing down your thoughts, because as time goes on and you gain more experience, it's going to be helpful to have something to look back on in terms of how you handle things, to be able to reflect and say, hey, did I do that right? Or do I think I could have did a little bit better job? Another thing, if these were your really good friends, or if these were true friends, they'd want to work hard for you. The reason my friend worked hard for me was because I didn't treat him like I was better than him, because to be honest, he could have easily had the same job that I did and be just as fine, if not better. It's your job as a leader to support your team and help them succeed. Everything else comes second. Numbers, budget, goals, all that stuff, that's going to come, and you'll be fine in those regards if your team respects you and works hard for you. But it's not going to happen if they don't. So you have to put in the time to build up that trust bank with your team. So, don't doubt your abilities as a manager. Your boss has picked you for a reason. I recommend too, read a few leadership books. Start with that Leadership on the Line by Heifetz and Linsky. There's another book, Crucial Conversations. Those are very popular books that are going to get you in the right frame of mind. Not to plug, shameless plug here, but I did write my own ebook. You can download from my website, www.pbeatty.com. It's a problem-solving guide for managers and professionals. But in any case, it's always good to up your knowledge game. The more you can rely on resources and data, you have to make fact-based, data-driven decisions. That way, you're going to feel more confident when your team comes to you and disagrees with your approach, even though you can prove it was the right decision. You're going to be more confident. You're going to speak more, assertively. You're going to be able to look back and say, hey, I get where you're coming from, but, based on the information that I have and what I'm looking at here, this was the best decision. And give yourself some time. It takes a good year to a year and a half just to learn your job. And it's going to take another 2 to 4 just to get really good at it. And while you're cutting your team some slack, cut yourself some slack too. So management is not an easy thing. You can't look at, a few failures and say, you know what, I'm just not cut out for this, because like I said, good leaders fail more often than they succeed. But the thing is with good leaders is they look at the mistakes they made and they improve every single time. So, like I said, at the beginning of the video, I think you've done some really good things already by listening to feedback, and being open with your team already. So, keep moving in that direction, and you're going to be just fine. So anyways, I hope this helps just a little bit. Dude, just reach out to me if you have any more questions or would like to chat. I love helping people develop skills, and I'm willing to listen or talk through anything. So, but yeah, if you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe. And again, check out all those books. You aren't going to be disappointed. So, in any case, good luck. Take care. And again, we'll talk to you soon.